pyramids were built by intelligent people, not by slaves. So this is a subject that has been debated for some time. And slowly, a lot of people are realizing that it's not actually what they've told us it is. So I'll give you an example, right? You have 24 granite boxes below the pyramid. 24 granite boxes. Each box weighs 100 tons. 100 tons, imagine that. Now, what is interesting, these pyramids are 30 feet below, which is 9 meters below the surface. And so they even say that a subject of great mystery and fascination. Their purpose and the methods used to create and transport remain a topic of debate and intrigue. And this is something that I was interested in the pyramids. When they told us there were slaves that built the pyramids, I started questioning this and I thought, there was no way you would move 24 massive granite boxes, 100 tons each, for those tiny tunnels with slaves. No. The way I see how the pyramids were built there, it was a massive site. So the way they did it, they must have dug. There was this massive hole. And then they took these 24 granite boxes. They put something inside because you can see on pictures that the lid of the box is, it's come off. You can see that you can go inside, and it's all the way it is. It's perfectly squared and so polished. They needed machines in order to polish that, but that's another thing. So the way I see it, so that's what they did. And then they took those granite boxes, whatever method they used, the sound transportation, or they used cranes. Now, even nowadays, with a crane, to take a granite box that is 100 tons, it's very hard, if not impossible, to just carry 100 tons and just put it on top of something, right? But imagine if they did that back in the day, if they had cranes and they took a granite box and this is what I'm thinking. They took 24 boxes. Now, 24, I don't know why they choose 24. Could be related to something. I don't know if they were hiding something inside the granite boxes, but I'll come to that. So what they did, they took those granite boxes and they put inside. And then I believe when they put the 24, they build around it. They build around there. So they put the surface, then they sealed it off, and then they built the pyramids on the top. They built these 3 pyramids on the top. Just to cover what's underneath. I'm not sure if if a cataclysm was happening, if it goes back to the Noah's flood, if it goes back to, I don't know, something that must have happened in the past, some god or someone or gods decided to come, to bring an end to that place. And the pyramids were sealed. The pyramids are sealed with those. And I don't know how many blocks are on the pyramids, right? But apparently they're like, let me see how many blocks. Apparently they say there's 1 million or something else. So how many blocks in a pyramid, right? So they said, right, it says 2.5 million stone blocks. 2.5. About 2.5. Imagine that. That is absolutely unbelievable. There was no way you had slaves with this, because you had to put the granite boxes first. And if they say, okay, you don't put the granite boxes first, and you build the tunnels, then you build the pyramids, how do you transport the granite boxes inside? You can't build them inside. The granite boxes must come from a place far away, then you have to cut them, and then you have to put them inside. But from what place you put them inside from, right? I mean, this is what people need to understand, because you don't have an access for the pyramid. They must have been there first time, and then it was built around. The walls and everything was built around these boxes. Because even if you had the tunnels built and everything, the boxes are so big they can barely go through the tunnel. How do you and this is one thing that most people will not question, and they will just listen to what the people tell them and say, oh, they use slaves and all that. That's something. There's proper engineering there. There's something really smart about that, and also about the fact that it's connected to this to the sun. Now, if the sun is that far away, as they say, is another question. Which I don't believe a minute that the sun is 200 or something million years from us. Doesn't make sense. But this is another subject anyway. So I'm just gonna stay with the pyramids. The pyramids, you see, like I said, I don't know if they were getting something, if they were the purpose. I don't know. Free energy. People talk about free energy with the pyramids. Maybe I don't know if there was free energy, but maybe to seal something. Maybe inside those granite boxes were some manuscripts or something like that, kept from could be from this flood, because Noah's flood is recorded in so many books, not just in the Bible, but even in the Quran, even in other history books. So it was an event that was mentioned, that was written about. And also they found examples of water damage. Water damage is a good example of the mount. Oh, this is a really good example. Everest, the highest mountain in the world. Everest stands at, what is it, 8,800 meters, if I'm correct. Let me just Everest. Yeah, Everest, Mount Everest. Mount Everest. So Everest is at 8,849 meters, right? Now, the top of the mountain of Mount Everest is limestone, which means the summit of Mount Everest is composed of limestone. And this is interesting because it says a grey, well-bedded limestone that was originally deposited in a shallow, warm sea during the Ordovician period. This limestone contains fossils of marine indicating that the summit was once part of ancient seabed that was uplifted by the collision of the Indian and Eurasian tectonic plates. Now, they don't know that. They weren't there to see exactly if that happened. These are just speculations and all that, because it was there because of the Indian and tectonic plates. No one was there to see how it was created or how it came. They just come up with things. They imagine things. No one was there. So don't think for a minute that that's how it was. When people talk about creation, 5 billion years ago, this is what happens. No one knows. So there's no way you can know. That's for sure. Let's just use common sense, no? But you see, if indeed Everest was covered, it was underwater, it means that there was a flood. It proves the point that there was a flood at one point. And the stories that we've learned in the Bible is true. They are true. And it means that it's either that the pyramids were built before the flood or after the flood. Why I believe maybe they were built before the flood? Because they were getting ready for the flood. I don't know who these people, they could be either the good guys or the bad guys. I don't know. Maybe they wanted to survive. I don't know how they get the oxygen, but I don't know. Chambers, maybe those granite boxes were put as chambers, time preserved sort of thing. Who knows, right? I mean, unless you got to ask questions and you understand more and more, right? But this is an interesting subject. And I believe when the granite boxes were discovered, I'm not sure if those granite boxes were opened after the flood by whoever was inside, or the ones that they were inside or outside there, or they had some writtens inside the granite boxes, and whoever discovered them opened the lid. They moved the lid on the side, and they saw whatever was inside. And I don't know what was inside, but it must have been something. You don't put empty boxes in there. You don't. It must have been something inside. So I'll make another video about this, about 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 the pyramids, and it's a very interesting subject. And I think it's connected. I believe they're somehow connected. The Bible, the stories that you hear in the Quran, the the what do you call it? The floods, everything seems to the pyramids and other the cathedrals. I feel like they're all connected. Something tells me that they're all connected somehow, and we're missing something here. There's something that we're missing.